Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal to talk about this. She is a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Congresswoman, thank you so much for making the time as you talk to us there from right off the House floor. We appreciate it.
Great to be with you.
So on the table now in these immigration discussions, you have DACA, you have border security, but there's also, as part of some of the pillars of discussion, chain migration or family reunification. Depends what you call it, depending on who you're talking to there. And also this idea of ending the diversity visa lottery. You have said that putting these other issues on the table is absurd. Tell us why you think that.
Well, look, these issues are part of the larger conversation on comprehensive immigration reform. They were on the table when we were talking about legalization and a path to citizenship, and when we were talking about the backlog in the family immigration system, which has been a central tenet of immigration policy in this country for families everywhere. And so now to add those two things to this discussion, I think, is disingenuous and would lead to, if you really were taking those issues up seriously, I think that would lead to this deal falling apart. Now, I think that there are some pieces of the DACA proposal that include what happens to the parents of Dreamers, a number of other things that do need to be on the table. This idea that chain migration is real is really only something that people who know nothing about immigration will say, because chain migration doesn't, for the most part, exist. It took me 18 years to get my citizenship. If I had tried to get my parents to come here as a U.S. citizen, it would have taken many more years. And so finally they were too old to come over. And so that's the reality for a lot of people. So this is about family-based immigration, staying strong, dealing with the backlogs. That needs to be part of comprehensive immigration reform. And even the president agreed with that and said, look, let's just stick to DACA as the first step. Obviously, he's going to be pushing for border security as part of it, but putting these other issues on the table complicates things, and really that's a discussion for the next day.
There is some frustration by rank-and-file Democrats that this has been allowed to be part of the discussion. Do you think the Democratic leaders have let you down by allowing it to be part of the discussion?
This is a difficult conversation, but I absolutely think we need to hold strong to the idea that this is about DACA. It's about Dreamers, something that 80% of the population, including in Trump districts, believes should get done and should not be tied to other things. And so, I know negotiations get tough. I know people want things to get done, but we are pushing back and saying, look, this needs to be about Dreamers. If we're going to have another conversation about family-based immigration, that should go into the comprehensive immigration reform bucket. And by the way, we have a plan, a bipartisan plan that passed the U.S. Senate with 67 bipartisan votes back in 2013 around comprehensive immigration reform. We know how to reform the system. And so I think, we just need to stick to what's on the table and not put other things on the list, because we have a big list of things that include 11 million undocumented immigrants that we need to figure out how to allow them to stay and allow them to continue.
I want to talk to you about what we're seeing on the House floor right now. This is the prelude to the big vote on the FISA authorization, or a section of FISA, and this has to do with an amendment. I believe you're part of this amendment, right? This amendment by Congressman Justin Amash, and this has to do with the unmasking, the revealing of the identity of Americans, is that right? Who might be sort of caught up in surveillance. So tell us about this amendment, and also with the knowledge, you may not have heard it, but the Speaker was just on the floor arguing how if this amendment passes, it would actually kill the entire program.
Well, I don't think he's right, and I think you have an interesting combination of Freedom Caucus members and folks who, on the Democratic side, who care deeply about civil liberties, who are coming together to say, look, this amendment is very simple. It just says that you need to get a warrant if an American is caught up in this collection of data. There's a lot of stuff that gets collected. And if there is a criminal investigation that is going to move forward forward based on the collection of some of that data for an American citizen, you need to have a warrant to move forward with that. I don't think that that's going to kill anything. I think that's going to protect civil liberties. And I think, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But we all believe that FISA has an important role to play, that we do need to reauthorize FISA. But this has been a problem. It's called the about collection, without appropriate measures to protect U.S. citizens and the privacy of U.S. citizens, I think is extremely important. So that's, I think, we will see what happens, but I think the Speaker is wrong when he says that this is going to kill the bill. I think there's a lot of votes. Whether or not there's enough votes, we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, it seems like it is going to be tough, but it is worth noting that there is bipartisan support there for that amendment that you are a part of. Congresswoman, thank you so much. We do appreciate you being with us. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, thank you.